Well, the weekend has just begun. However, not a lot of new things have come around except for AEW Collision. As you know, AEW Collision are in their last show before Revolution, so anything could happen before then. So we're going to see some very interesting matches before we get to Revolution. But first things first, we're going to review a 4-day review by All Japan Pro Wrestling with their Excited series that they did from February. Since we're in March, I decided let's just review all four of them. And of course, this one features, of course, the brand new All Japan World Tag Team Champions, the titles that were vacant by the Saito brothers, and now we're going to be seeing new champions. However, the junior heavyweight title was defended, but of course, a brand new challenger has stepped up, and we got various other things as well taking place. But also, we have a very short news updates for all of you regarding, of course, a very interesting. It turns out another Stardom wrestler has been announced to be part of the Spark Yoshi Puroresu Wrestling of America, and of course, Yuka Sakazaki returns to All Japan. To Tokyo Yoshi Pro Wrestling, and a couple of other new developments we're definitely going to be talking along the way. So let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to the Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. But we also do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also do more news updates with, of course, if I'm unable to put it on this episode, I can put it on a separate video by itself. We also do real timing news updates to keep you guys on alert what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling. We also do the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool things as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us. So click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool stuff on this channel. But also, if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions are set aside and put out there. Let's begin with our very first one with All Japan Pro Wrestling with Day 1 of Excite Series 2024. Okay, All Japan Pro Wrestling Excite Series 2024. This is day 1. This took place recently on February 20th. Now, it opened up, well, we started out with the pre show featuring at risk girls doing their thing. Now, if you guys have been aware or not, at risk girls has entered a partnership with All Japan Pro Wrestling, but however, there's been talk about how things went down between them and what's going on with Evolution Girls, but I'm not gonna get to that. However, the match had Naru, Kouku, Natsumi, Sumikawa, and Miko Aino. I know now. I am familiarized with the team number 2 involved with this one, but it was a pretty good match. Not gonna lie, but it was a pretty good way to start out the show to get the fans going, despite the fact that they are kind of like what we're seeing with WWE, but it was a big lariat by Miku, I know, with onto what's her name, Naru. I was like, whoa, she pulled off a big lariat. So very impressive. So her and Sumikawa picked up the win. Now, our next match, we have a very singles match between two guys who, in the past, recently they had issues towards each other. Then they ended up tag team partners, but somehow along the way they got along great. But now they get to beat the crap out of each other. I'm talking about Hideki Suzuki and Suwama. Now, these guys are completely different. Hideki Suzuki, in fact, is an excellent submission specialist. Very kind of like Minoru Suzuki, but very striking capability and very good technical submissions. However, Suwama, he's a bit of a powerhouse. I think that's a very combination style, but facing off each other, that was different. But it was Suwama who picked up the win, win with a German suplex, giving him the win. Now, our next match, we have a very interesting 8-man tag match. We have Okuro Omori, Naruki Doi, Ren Ayabe, and of course, the veteran Azamu Nishamira. They take on Shotaro Ashina, Hartley Jackson, Hikaru Sato, and of course, Kuroshio Tokyo Japan, or as we know him, Ikemenjiro. Now, of course, Ikemenjiro did his usual thing with his shenanigans, with just greeting the fans, having a bit of fun throughout this entire interest stream. Now, you would think that would play out, but however, when it comes to being in the ring, that was going to be a very different aspect. Now, as you know, Hartley Jackson has been mostly been appearing in Glee. I never expected him to show up, and he dressed differently on the occasions with in this promotion. But it was Hartley Jackson who picked up the win when he applied the Falcon Arrow onto Ayabe, giving him his first win here. I'm like, not bad. I think it was really fun. Now, our next match, we have Voodoo Murder, consisted of Kono and Toshizo. They take on the tag team known as New Period, consisting of Yuma Anzai and Rukio Honda. Now, as you know, Anzai and Honda have been a very strong and very capable team. Many people consider them as the fan favorites to win Real Tag League last year, but that was won by Nakajima and Hakuto Omori. But apparently, this match kind of put them back on the map. As you know, it was, of course, a Honda with the final vent onto Toshizo to pick up the win. So I'm sure this is their way to establish themselves even further. Next up, we have Rising Hayato teaming with Kento Miyahara. They take on the Aoyagi brothers, Asuki and Yuma. Now, these four individuals are very close friends. They're part of a team. They are not afraid to fight each other, but it always did show what they're capable of. Um, but I was surprised Hayato. Now, Hayato, he is an excellent junior heavyweight competitor, but I cannot recall the last time he's ever done a submission move. And he actually applied a submission on Atsuki, giving him the win. I was like, wow, not bad. I don't know where he got this from or where he learned it, but it was effective. It gave him a good win. Now, our next match, we have one of three titles matches involved in this particular day. We have the Gaota TV title. Seigo Tachibana defends this belt against Ryo Inoue. Now, you would think that Ryo Inoue is a fantastic wrestler. I mean, the guy is amazing, young. He actually knows what he's doing. You would think that he would pick up a fantastic win, but however, that wasn't the case. Seigo Tachibana, who looks like a clown, but he knows how to deliver his execution, was the real deciding factor when he applied a bit of a forearm attack on the back of the head of Inoue to retain the title. Now, our next match, this is for the All Japan Pro Wrestling World Junior Heavyweight title. Fuminori Abe versus Dan Tamura. Now, this is the first time in many years that Fuminori Abe has challenged for this belt. It was very interesting to hear that he was very interested to get back on the title hunt. But however, Dan Tamura, who is a strong wrestler, he doesn't have the same high flying capability, but he can throw in a bit of the powerhouse for his for his junior heavyweight class, but it was effective. But he did use a strong lariat against that on Abe to pick up the win. However, he was delivering a promo, and the person who decided to come out to challenge him is none other than Rising Hayato. Now, Hayato has made a play for this belt on many occasions. I mean, I have to say, why is this guy not a champion? I mean, he deserves it more. I mean, he showed how impressive he is in the ring, and looks like this match is really going to happen, but we'll see. Now, our main event. Originally, we were supposed to have Rei Sato taking on Katsuhiko Nakajima for the Triple Crown title, but due to an injury, it forced Rei Sato to give his position to his brother Jun, but in the process to vacate their tag titles from both All Japan and Glee. That was one of the many things. Now, Katsuhiko Nakajima, you can say he is one of the toughest individuals in pro wrestling. He is not afraid of anybody. But when it comes to Jun Saito, he's a big individual. How is he going to beat someone like him? Well, I was surprised. I was thinking, can he apply the vertical suplex for a guy of his size? Well, my surprise, he did. He actually did apply a vertical spike and retain the belt. And then he put out a nice promo and he talked to about Risato. I'm not sure if he tells him to come back soon. He'll hold the belt when he comes back. I'm sure he would love to have another chance to take on Risato because I think he's trying to make up for what happened. I mean, being pinned by him and that sort of thing. But we'll see. However, another challenger stepped up to take on Nakajima, and that person is Yuma Anzai. So we're probably going to see Yuma Anzai challenge for the belt. Don't know when or where, but hopefully we get that information soon enough. I think that's pretty much it with day one with All Japan Pro Wrestling Excited Series. Let's move on with day two. Okay, day two of All Japan Pro Wrestling in Exciting Series 2024. This took place on the 23rd of February. Now, it opened up with a non title match, Okudo Omori taking on Katsuhiko Nakajima. Now, I was told that this was going to be one of the few matches that, of course, Nakajima will be in a non title match, but of course, the possibilities of either competitor in these non title matches, possibly they could challenge for the belt. But however, you would think that there's no way Nakajima will allow that to happen because he devours all his competition. And that's exactly what he did with Omori when he applied the vertical spike, and it was over right from there. Now, our next match we have Seki Yoshioka, Seigyo Tachibana, and Kuroshio Tokyo Japan, or better known as Ikemenjiro. They take on the Voodoo Murders, Kono, Toshizo, and Jun Saito. However, during Ikemenjiro's little entrance, he was attacked by Voodoo Murder because they're not playing games here. Despite the fact that Ikemenjiro likes to have a bit of fun, well, you can say that Voodoo Murders are like, we're not here to play games. That's exactly what they were doing. However, it was Jun Saito who applied like a somewhat of a slam down by Tachibana and pinning him. Now, one thing that does make clear, those who know this, Tachibana is the Gyota Television Champion. So basically, does this mean that Jun Saito could challenge for this belt? I'm pretty sure he could. But he never addressed it or mentioned anything like once the match was over. But I'm sure he'll keep that in mind at some point. Our next match, we have Fuminori Abe, Naruku Doi, and Ray Palma taking on ATM, Ryo Inoue, and Shotaro Ashino. Now, the match was going great as possible, but for some odd reason, I don't know how it happened, but Ray Palma's pants were down. You can see his bare ass. I'm not joking, guys. You can see his ass. I don't know if he's trying to pull a little comedy routine, which I thought it was funny, but he wasn't laughing until Ashino applied his German suplex, and It was over right from there. Now, our next match we have Yuma Aoyagi, Rising Hayato, and Kento Miyahara taking on Dan Tamura, Ren Ayabe, and Takao Amori. Now, don't forget, it was Rising Hayato who issued the challenge for the All Japan Pro Wrestling Junior Heavyweight title against Dan Tamura. So this is pretty much like a prelude before we get to that. I thought it was a pretty good match. However, it was Kento with a German suplex onto Ayabe to pick up the win. However, the post match, we did see Tamara and Hayato get at it. They were beating the crap out of each other. Then Tamara did a little promo and said whatever he had to say to Hayato. I'm pretty sure Tamara is trying to tell him that he is not going to beat him for his belt and he's not going to let him. So we'll see what happens until then. Now, we do have a number one contendership for the All Japan Pro Wrestling World Tag Team titles that were vacant by the Saito brothers due to Rei Saito being injured. So we have New Period consisting of Yuma Anzai and Ryuki, Ryuki Honda. And they faces against the veterans of Hideki Suzuki and Suwama. Now, I thought this match was pretty interesting because you can tell now New Period are very strong and very strong tag team, and of course Hideki Suzuki and Suwama. They're a bit of the wild card because they were a team that didn't get along. It took a while for them to get their footing. I thought it was fantastic. I mean, it was pretty interesting, but somehow along the way, Suwama and Suzuki can't get along. But they were able to pick up the win when Suzuki applied the octopus on Tahana and force him to give up. Not tap out, but to say, I give up, I give up, I give up. Just like that, and they become the number one contenders. But they will face on day 4 against um, Yuma Aoyagi and, of course, Kento Miyahara, who are no strangers with these belts. We know they have been champions before, but we will see what happens until then. Now, our main event, we have Hikaru Sato taking on Murder Grandpa, the effing king himself, Minoru Suzuki. Yes, Minoru Suzuki. Now, it's no strange that these two have come across each other outside of All Japan Pro Wrestling. They have come across each other before. I thought it was very fantastic. Now, we know that they both have similar styles. I mean, they're both submission specialists. They do a lot of striking capability. But the obvious question, who was going to walk away? Well, it was Minoru Suzuki when he applied the Gotch-style power driver onto Sato and pick up the win. So I thought it was an impressive victory. So we'll see what happens in day 3. So I think that's pretty much it. So let's do that right now with day 3. Okay, day 3 of All Japan Pro Wrestling with exciting series 2024. This just took place on the 24th of February. Um, Opened up with a non-title match. Ryo Inoue once again taking on the Triple Crown champion Nakajima in a non-title match. Now, as I said before, if Inoue was able to pick up a win against Nakajima, then he could have an opportunity to challenge for, of course, the Triple Crown. However, that wasn't the case. Even though he is strong and he's a wrestler that we can definitely get behind, but unfortunately, that, that didn't do any well for him because he ended up in the vertical spike. 1, 2, 3. It was over right there for him. Next up, we have Seki Yoshioka and Seigyo Tachibana taking on Akuda Omori and Naruki Doi. Now, these two guys, Doi and Omori, are no strangers with each other. They have teamed up before on various occasions. So I have to say their teamwork it has played out a good factor, despite the fact that Tachibana and Yoshioka are not, because they're a makeshift team, and that really helped out. However, it was a roll up by Naruki Doi onto Tachibana and won the match. However, much like Jun Saito, I question since Naruki Doi pinned Tachibana, will he ever challenge for the Gaiota television title? I mean, it is a possibility, but we'll see what that day happens when he decides to issue it. So I'm sure he'll cross that mind. Now, our next match, we have a tag match. We have Toa Iwasaki and Ray Paloma taking on ATM and Kuroshio Tokyo, Japan. Now, of course, like Tokyo Manjaro once again does his little usual thing, have a little sing and dance with his fans throughout the entirety of his entrance. Of course, we were going to see that. However, once again, Paloma, at some point, his pants were down. You can see his ass completely, So basically, I don't know what he was thinking. But however, it was a tombstone by Nakajima who put him away. He pulled an Undertaker, and then he did the whole, crossing his arms and then just pin him. I don't know why he did it, but he must have did it because he thought it was fun. But yeah, so not bad. Next up, we have Fuminori Abe and Ren Ayabe. They take on Dan Tamura and Shotaro Ashino. Now, Dan Tamura and Ashino are no strangers. They have come across each other before, but I felt like their teamwork could actually play it out pretty well. But it was that no, who was it? Ashino with an ankle lock onto Ayabe that put him away and forced him to tap out. Next up, we have Takawa Omori teaming up with New Period, Yuma Anzai, and Ryuki Honda. They take on Hikaru Sato, Hideki Suzuki, and Suwama. Now, keep in mind, New Period recently lost to Suwama and Hideki Suzuki for a number one contendership that they probably wish they had, but I'm sure they're going to use this as a way to, how do I say, make up for that loss. And that's exactly what happened because it was Omori who put away Hikaru Sato with a lariat. 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, next up, we have um, Yuma Aoyagi, Rising Hayato, and Kento Miyahara. They take on the Voodoo Murders, Kono, Toshizo, and Jun Saito. Now, things were going great until all of a sudden the referee was knocked down. Then, of course, Toshizo actually low blow Kento, tried to find a way to, how do I say, to pick up the win. However, Kento decided to take advantage of trying to take a page out of their playbook, brought in Ryo Inoue to help him out into the ring, knowing that the ref was distracted. So that played out pretty well in his favor. But it was, of course, a German suplex by Kento to Tojizo, and it was over right from there. So, yeah. So I think that's pretty much it what we have for day 3. So let's move on with day 4. Okay, day 4 of All Japan Pro Wrestling of Excited Series 2024. This took place on the 25th of February. It opened up once again in a non-title match. Ren Ayabe gets a crack at Katsuhiko Nakajima. Now, X factor of this match, Ren Ayabe is a bit more taller than Nakajima. Will that play out a way to, how do I say, try to put him in a vertical spike? That's the question. Nakajima has always not been afraid of who gets in his way. All he cares about is devouring his victims. That's exactly what he does. And of course, he did pull off the vertical spike. And just like that, it was over. Now, our next match, we have a three-way match. We have Kazuaki Mihara, Toshizo, and Takawa Omori. The match was going great at some point. Everything was normal until all of a sudden Toshizo pulled out some sort of weapon and took out everybody in the ring, including the ref. But this match ended in a disqualification. But it was Takawa Omori who picked up the win. So I don't know what Toshizo was thinking, or he just didn't care. Who knows? Next up, we have Seigyo Tachibana and Kuroshio Tokyo Japan taking on Shotaro Ashino and Hokuto Omori. Of course, um, what's interesting in this match is uh, Ashino and Omori. Well, they're not along. They used to be in the same team before, but now that they're not. But it was Ashino who picked up the win when they pinned Tachibana, and they won some sort of prize afterwards. But um, Ashino wasn't feeling the love towards Omori, but he did shake hands with Ikemenjiro and Tachibana, so that played out pretty well. Next up, we have New Period, Yuma Anzai and rookie Honda taking on Voodoo Murder, consisting of Kono and Jun Saito. Now, you would think this match was going to go according to plan. However, this match ended in a double countout. So basically, things got out of hand from both sides. They were beating the crap out of each other and all this and other that. I wasn't too sure, so hopefully, New Period gets a little payback for what happened. Only time will tell. Next up, we have a pretty sick 8-man tag match. We have Fuminori Abe, Seki Yoshioka, Hikaru Sato, and Rising Hayato taking on Ryo Inoi, Naruki Doi, Brother Yashi, and of course, Dan Tamra. Now, don't forget, Dan Tamra will contempt with Rising Hayato, who will be putting his belt on the line. But I thought this match was crazy with a lot of spots, and not to mention moments where you would think that Rising Hayato will have the advantage to pick up a win against Tamra to show him that he will be the one to dethrone him. Well, that's exactly what he did. He applied a submission move, forcing him. The referee had no other choice but to stop it, knowing that um, Tamra was done. But as soon as that match was over, Rising Yato took the mic, the little promo. Now I don't know what he said, but I'm sure he is satisfied knowing I picked up the win against you, that sort of thing. But nonetheless, it was great. Now our main event is the All Japan Pro Wrestling World Tag Team titles that were vacant by the Saito brothers. The competitors fighting for this match, we have Yuma Aoyagi, Kento Miyahara versus Hideki Suzuki and Suwama. I have to say it was a pretty good match, but I have to say I was hoping that Suzuki and Suwama pick up the win. Not because I want them to, because I feel like their tag team story has been very unique because these guys started out hating each other and then now they're working together as a unit. And I think that plays out. But what surprisingly is how this match ended. This match ended in a German suplex, becoming our brand new All Japan World Tag Team Title champions. So, however, you probably know now that they are the champions, it's only a matter of time until the lines are started to stack up and see who will be the ones to try to dethrone our brand new crown tag team champions. So, I think that's pretty much it with All Japan Pro Wrestling. Let's move on with AEW Collision. Okay, AEW Collision. Now, we were supposed to have a match. Buddy Matthews was on his way to the ring until he was viciously attacked by Mark Briscoe. Now, as you know, Mark Briscoe has been the target by the House of Torture for a while now because he helped FTR and Neo Garcia to pick up the win against them in a steel win uh, in a steel cage match. However, they've been attacking him wherever they go, but this time he went a little extreme, but he was able to hold his own once he realized that the numbers were game. Of course, Malachi Black and Brody King showed up, but he was attempting to take out Buddy Matthews, and he tried to use the pyro to do so. I'm pretty sure that the of Black are considering that they really pissed him off. Well, we'll just wait and see what happens next week. I'm sure that they will definitely get their revenge towards him, but we'll see. Now, after what happened in Dynamite, Swerve, well, as you know, he said he never regrets what the things he's done, but he feels that what happened to him this past Wednesday, well, he got swerved by Hangman Page, so he didn't see that one coming, and now he has to pay the consequences for that. I'm pretty sure no one saw what was happening. Even Hangman Page thought it was pretty funny, but he said loud and clear that he's not going to allow Swerve Strickland to become AEW World Champion. So we'll see where that leads us until we get to Revolution. Now, our next match, we have a three-way match. Penta El Cero Miedo, Brian Keith, and Dante Martin. I thought this match was fantastic. I mean, Brian Keith and Penta were previously tag team partners, but now they're on the opposite side from each other. You would think there was going to be a lot of high spots. I mean, it was, yes, but it was Dante Martin with a frog splash onto Brian Keith. Just like that, he picked up the win. Now, our next match, we have Mariah May versus Angelica Risk. You would think this match was going to be a very easy one because it kind of did. Mariah May picked up the win when she applied the Mayday until in her post match, Toni Storm came around. Then Deonna Purrazzo actually got in her face. But once again, their history has played out a pretty good well. Of course, Deonna Purrazzo said that, to get her head out of her ass and stop being this wannabe person that she claims that she is. And of course, she said that she's going to break both her arms if that's the case. So we'll see where that leads us from here on out. Now, our next match, we have Austin Gunn taking on, Austin Gunn teaming with the Acclaim to take on the Dark Order, Evil Uno, Alex Reynolds, and John Silver. I have to say, this combination of cohesion was pretty impressive. Not to mention, we know that, of course, Max and Bowen can actually coexist, but when it comes to Austin, that's a different story. So you probably would think they have to pull something off, and that's exactly what they did. They were able to avoid the combinations that Reynolds and Silver were known for, but it was a mic drop by Max Caster onto Reynolds that allowed him to pick up the win. So we're seeing a stronger, somewhat of a super group taking place. Now, we did see what happened on Dynamite between Sky Blue and Chris Sadler, so apparently there's going to be some hell to pay for what the lots since this mess happens. But of course, Willow Nightingale made it clear to Julia Hart and Sky Blue that she's going to kick their ass. So we'll see what happens until then. Now, Tony Schiavone did an in-ring interview with Wardlow, who is part of the 8-man scramble match for an opportunity of the AEW World Title. Now, Jericho had some things to say towards, of course, Wardlow, because the problem is there's certain factors involved. Is Wardlow, if he wins the title, he has to hand it over to Adam Cole. But Chris Jericho, he tries to give him a piece of his mind, which he tried to do, but Hobbs showed up out of nowhere and attacked him. So, just like that. Now, Lexia conducted an interview with Serena Deep. She is putting the entire women's locker room on notice, which is, of course, she's supposed to do. So we'll see who will be the next challenger to take her on. So we'll find out. Now, our next match, we have tag team action, Private Party versus Matt Sydal and Christopher Daniels. Nothing too significant of this match. I mean, the match was okay, but however, the dickwads showed up. If you guys don't know what I'm referring to, I'm talking about Jay Lethal, Jeff Jarrett, Satnam Singh, Sanjay Dutt, and Karen. They helped Private Party to pick up the win. It was, of course, Lethal with the Lethal combo onto Daniels, and of course, Mark Quinn picked up the win. I don't know what's this about, but they believe that maybe this could help them for their 12-man tag match that's taking place at Revolution. So we'll see where that leads us from here on out. Now, our next match, we have Thunder Rosa versus, what's her name? Cassandra Golden. Well, I can tell you this match ended with Thunder Rosa with a submission, and just like that, it's only a matter of time until she gets back in the hunt for the women's AEW title. We'll see where that leads us. Now, our main event, we have Hook, Daniel Garcia, Trent Beretta, and Orange Cassidy taking on Roderick Strong, Brian Cage, Killswitch, and Christian Cage. Of course, factors of this match, we have seen Christian Cage will deal with Daniel Garcia booked with Brian Cage, and of course, Orange Cassidy against Roderick Strong. However, you would think this match was going to go okay until Nick Wayne attacked um, Trent Barretta in order to have Kill Switch to pick up the win, and that's exactly what happened. But all hell broke loose. They were Hook and Brian Danielson were going at it. Then, of course, Daniel Garcia and Christian Cage. Then we saw the Undisputed beating the crap out of Orange Cassidy, try to soften them up before Sunday. That's exactly what they want because, of course, Roderick Strong, during an exclusive interview, he claims that this was his last day and he will win the belt. So we'll see where that leads us. So we're waiting for Revolution. I hope everybody's ready for that too. So I think that we're done with all reviews. Now we're going to do a very short news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news update. So this is a very short one for all of you. Now, as you know, Yuka Sakazaki last November has graduated from Tokyo Show Pro Wrestling. That she'll be making her way overseas. However, we don't know what's taking her so long. But it was announced by Tokyo Show Pro Wrestling for their Grand Princess event. This is their version of, well, kind of like their WrestleMania / SummerSlam that takes place on March 31st. Yuka Sakazaki will be participating on that particular day. So, haven't heard anything when she'll be making her way overseas, but that was her initial plan. Now, Spark Yoshi Puroresu of America has announced for their Trailblazers show in Philadelphia. On April 7th, it was announced that Mina Shirakawa will be there. So that makes two of Stardom's talent will be there. Mayu Iwatani was announced to be in this particular day, and now it will be Mina. Don't forget, these two ladies will be participating in the Stardom show in Philly, so I'm sure we're all going to be excited and happy to see that. So I think that's pretty much it with our updates with our promotions. So let's talk about certain developments. Tetsuya Naito said during that he is willing to put the IWGP title on the well. He wants to have a match against Show. To be honest with you, I don't know what's the purpose, but however, he did got Show's intention. He said that if Show beats him in this match, that he's willing to vacate the title. Now, I don't know what's the purpose, but I know one thing about Show. He would not pass up the opportunity because in his mind, he thinks that belt belongs to Evil. Evil has the right to that belt. It's his because he is the law. I'm not sure what kind of game Naito is playing, but we'll see where that leads us from there. And finally, Gatoh Move Pro Wrestling has announced a brand new trainee named Eriko. She'll be making her debut soon, but she will be in an exhibition match in possibly in Choco Pro or Gatoh Move. We'll see. We saw that with Seneko Sota and Miya Yotsuba. So I think that's pretty much it for all of our reviews and our news updates. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, as you know, we have AEW Revolution. I haven't seen the much recent GCW shows yet, but AEW Revolution is at the top of the priority list, so I'll be focusing on that a whole lot. But we'll see how things will progress on a Sunday. But I hope you guys just enjoy this episode. We'll see from there. So I will say this: I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang.